What's up, Canuck fans? Welcome to The Line Change, a Vancouver Canucks podcast, which is a presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, as well as a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. We've got some injury updates for our Vancouver Canucks. I know, day late to the party, but I still wanted to talk about this and get it out to you guys. First off, as it was announced yesterday morning by General Manager Patrick Allvin, Thatcher Demko is done for the season. We already kind of speculated that this would be happening. Even Adam Foote kind of, hinted at it. And we even suggested it in a video not too long ago. Demko will be getting hip surgery. So he's having a surgical procedure done on his hip that should perhaps try and help and prevent him from sustaining any more groin injuries. Has nothing to do with his knee. I was watching Sekeres and Price, and they had Kevin Woodley on, and he was talking about goaltending as well as the hips. It was really intriguing to watch. I highly recommend watching it if you guys get a chance to do so. So that probably rules out Demko being traded before the deadline, which means his no move clause is going to kick in on July 1st when that contract officially kicks in. Could Demko be moved in the offseason? There's probably a chance, but it would, again, have to be before July 1st. There's probably a chance, as I mentioned, but of course, the uncertainty surrounding him and his ability to stay healthy. Would a team even be, interested or even willing to take on his price tag? I'm glad that they're shutting him down. Like I said, I suggested it in a video recently, and I'm also glad he's getting a procedure done to try and help him and keep him healthy. I don't wish ill will on him at all, even though he's, not been able to remain healthy for the last several years. I love Demko. He wants to be here. He said it so himself. So I hope the surgery goes well and he's able to eventually get back to the Thatcher Demko that we all know and love, and he can get to that Vezina finalist caliber goalie that we know he can be. So let me bring this up. The Vancouver Canucks will be without goaltender Thatcher Demko for the rest of the season. On Tuesday morning, the club announced that their starting goaltender would miss the rest of the season and will undergo hip surgery. After consulting with our team doctors and outside specialists, so take note of the outside specialists. We'll get into that in just a little bit later. Thatcher Demko will be shut down for the rest of the year, said GM Patrick Allvin in a statement put out by the team. Thatcher will undergo surgery next week for an injury unrelated to the one that kept him out of action last season. Following his rehab, he will be ready for the start of training camp in September. Demko, who turned 30 just last month, last played for the Canucks on January 10th when he exited after the first period against the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is yet another line in the growing list of injuries Demko, who the Canucks extended on a 3-year deal last offseason, has suffered in his young career. It's also not the first time he's undergone hip surgery either. The season after the Canucks drafted him when he was a sophomore at Boston College and put up an eye-popping .925 save percentage, Demko underwent surgery on both hips, as chronicled by the late Jason Botford. Demko had been playing through the hip injury for 4 seasons, and by the time he had surgery in 2015, Demko had 0 degrees of internal rotation in his hips. Demko missed most of the 24-25 season with a knee injury that he suffered in the dying moments of the Canucks' Game 1 matchup in the first round of the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs against the Nashville Predators. Demko suffered multiple setbacks in his recovery from that injury and opened up about the frustrations around that injury. Demko has had multiple IR stints since that knee injury as well, and of course we would later go on to find out that it was an injury to the popliteus muscle. With Demko out, the Canucks will rely on Kevin Lankinen, Nikita Tolopilo, and Yuri Patera, more likely the first two, between the pipes down the final stretch of the season as they hunt down a high draft positioning with hopes of landing one of Ivar Stenberg or Gavin McKenna. As Allvin mentioned in the statement, the Canucks are anticipating that Demko will be ready for training camp in September. So there's that. Our second batch of injury updates, the highly anticipated return of Marco Rossi that recovery has now hit a devastating roadblock. As if the Demko news wasn't enough, we turn our attention to Marco Rossi. We were all on pins and needles, waiting for hopefully a positive update, waiting for the young star to get back on the ice, but instead we hear the words recovery setback, or just he's suffered a setback. We don't have all the specifics yet, but it's being reported he's suffered a setback in his recovery. Obviously, we know Rossi is dealing with a lower body injury. We don't exactly know what the actual injury is or whether or not it is the same injury that he suffered when prior to the trade that sent him from Minnesota to the Canucks. And of course, the Quinn Hughes deal. We know he had suffered I believe they mentioned that it was the same injury that he had aggravated after the trade, having played through it. He obviously, I believe I saw something that he tried playing through it and he ended up actually aggravating it. So there's that. But hearing that he has suffered a setback is crazy, as he is now the third player on this team who's suffered an injury and has had a setback. First, it was Derek Forbort, who, by the way, still has yet to play a game this season and very well could be shut down for the rest of the season. Then it was Teddy Bluger, and now Marco Rossi. What is going on with this medical staff? This is a serious issue. The amount of setbacks that we're seeing, I'm not quite sure we've even really seen this before. Farhan Lalji of TSN is reporting that Rossi will now be out till at least after the Olympics. Potentially could return February 25th, which would be the Canucks' first game out of the Olympic break. But don't quote me on that. Again, that's probably just the earliest he can probably return. With that, Rossi has also been ruled out of the Olympics. So what do you guys think of this? Add another name to the list of Canucks players who have suffered a setback in their recovery from an injury. I'd like to thank my main and primary sponsor, none other than DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Never experienced the jaw-dropping moments that make hockey? Hockey? Well, you can experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through per wager may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025, all rights reserved. I'd like to thank my secondary sponsor, none other than Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see right here in front of you, and you guys can check them out yourselves at gassyjackart.com. All right. I guess we have also a third injury update. Obviously, everyone knows Zeev Buium suffered an injury and he was put on the IR along with Brock Besser. But it's come out that Buium has suffered a broken cheekbone or cracked cheekbone, broken or cracked, but something to do with his cheekbone, obviously from taking a puck to the face in Sunday's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We mentioned how, people, the medical team for the Vancouver Canucks should be questioned as, obviously, Buium suffered that injury in the first period, left the game for a little bit, and then actually returned wearing a full face shield. what people call a fishbowl, and he was not playing well. Now, you could tell the injury was really, having an effect on his play. So it makes you wonder, why did the medical staff let him go back out there when he had a broken cheekbone? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then, obviously hearing about Rossi and his setback, and then, Bluger having suffered a setback, floorboard, like, what is, like, I'm seriously wondering, like, what this medical staff, like, what their qualifications are, because it's freaking ridiculous. I know we're not privy to the behind the scenes stuff, but I mean, this has got to raise some eyebrows. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys think, this should be looked into. But also, let me know in the comments below which injury news hits the hardest. Is it Demko or is it Rossi? Do you think Demko getting this surgery done is going to help him going forward? And what are your thoughts on Rossi's setback and, the latest Vancouver Canuck injury to or injured player rather to suffer a setback? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. Check out our official merchandise store. We're currently selling our 1-year anniversary collection featuring our new and improved logo, both in blue and green, as well as our skate version of our logo. And I've said it time and time again, that black hoodie with the skate logo looks absolutely crisp. You guys can check it out at thelinechangepodcast.threadless.com. We do have a bit of a sale going on, so go ahead and check that out for sure. Also, if you want to have more discussions and conversations like this one, join our official Discord. There is a link to it in the description down below. It's completely free to join, so go ahead and do so if you so wish. You can find and interact with us on social media. We're everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, even Blue Sky. Feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. Speaking of platforms, if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow, as well as rate and review us on either platform. It is, of course, greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the podcast. Something else that really helps out the podcast is if you have a favorite episode and absolutely loved it so much that you want to watch or listen to it over and over and over again, well, you can download your favorite episode, as that too also really helps out the podcast. And of course, we are also very greatly appreciative of it as well. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next line change.